Hello there everyone, welcome to my channel. It's me Gamerturk and this is part 3 of my Sword Online Q&A wrapping up 2025. This time I'm on my skis actually because I went a little bit off course for a nice view for you all. The previous location I had was actually blocked by a shadow due to the mountain. The reason I'm on skis right now is because it's a bit deep over here. I'm a bit off course. As you can see, the thing basically goes down halfway through, so I don't want to get buried under snow to my knees because it's mainly due to the framing really. I don't want to look all the way down there. That's the best I could do and that was my solution. So we're continuing with the questions on YouTube where we left off last time around. First, I'm gonna once again interject. If you have questions about the upcoming Sword Online movie, again, I'm answering this at the beginning of every single one of these Q&As because that's what I imagine most people are interested in. We'll probably get some news in Anime Expo in March 2026 and, you know, just look forward to it. It's not guaranteed, of course, nothing has yet been announced, but the merch lineups have been ramping up, which is usually a sign that an announcement is coming. So look forward to March 2026, the end of March 2026 for Anime Japan. And as always, we got Gamerturk merch available on my Teespring. Link is gonna be down below in the description. We have beautiful hoodies. This is my 50k subscriber special that's still up there, alongside some nice t-shirts, a poster of our first day project, and all those kinds of stuff. We got nice stickers as well. Do check them out. But continuing where we left off, now 7715 asks, thoughts on Abridged? I get this asked quite often during my live streams. You know, you can check them out. I tend to stream on weekends, but I figured I'd answer it here on a Q&A as well because it's a very popular question, understandably so. And my relationship with Abridged is that when I first started it years ago, the first couple episodes, you know, 2 episodes, 3 episodes, maybe even 4, that was incredibly fun for me. It was fresh, it felt funny. However, the more series continued, unlike the Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged by Little Kuribo, which I consider to be the gold standard for Abridged series, even though it's a bit dated, especially with its jokes and stuff that I understand, the SAO Abridged just felt, the word I use is creatively bankrupt. People take quite the offense when I use that word, but what I mean is, it's basically 1 or 2 jokes that is being consistently rehashed throughout. How many episodes does it have now? Are they in Fairy Dance? Are they done with Fairy Dance? I don't even know. I haven't been following it for like the past 2 years, but that's just how I feel about SAO Abridged. I felt like it started really nice when it was novel, but quite quickly, by the time episode 4, 5, 6 came around, it was like, it's just the exact same 20 minutes over and over with the exact same jokes. And I'm like, I'm tired of this. The joke is that everyone's a dick. That's the punchline. And it just stopped being interesting for me. Do I think it's better written than original series? I can't. When these questions come up, when people ask me this, or when people state things like this, all I can do is laugh because, come on now. Let's be serious. Next question, Colin asks, if you could have Koharu and KOB help you fight any non-SAO boss, who would it be and why? I imagine you're asking SAO as in series, like non-SAO as in not from the entire SAO series, not just Aincrad. That's a huge question, isn't it? I am not prepared for this. I'm literally reading questions on the fly as I'm doing the Q&A, by the way. And all of this rambling is basically just giving me 10, 20 additional seconds just to be able to think. Let me see. I'm a Sonic fan, so what would be a good Sonic boss to pick from? That should narrow things down for me. Egg Dragoon? I think Egg Dragoon would be nice from Sonic Unleashed. It was remade in Sonic Generations. It's not going super fast, so you don't technically need Sonic speed to fight it. It's relatively static as to where it is. So it's very much manageable to fight in a setting of SAO, so to say. So that can be a very nice boss. It has quite the range of attacks. You can get in for close quarters. I think that would be a nice and fitting boss. Specifically the Unleashed version, where you were fighting it as the Werehog, because the Generations version, that is more tuned in for modern daytime boost Sonic, and you know, there's not much you can play with in terms of SAO when it comes to that. But the Unleashed version, definitely, I think it would be a good roam around the arena type of boss. Tusky asks, he's actually quite interested in things I post about the SAO brand in general, the brand management and the marketing situations. So I'm glad about this question. What lessons learned should the SAO marketing team use moving forward to make the next SAO movie the most successful it can be? Now, there are lessons learned that they can actually reasonably use, and there are those that they can't. I will talk about SAO Game specifically in a video I'm preparing for sometime in the future, let's say. But number one is that SAO brand is too fragmented right now. The Aniplex side is completely running the anime side. Dengeki and Kadokawa, they're trying to do their best with the light novels, which is not much because it's such a niche content under a huge umbrella. You can't really focus SAO under the umbrella of Dengeki or Kadokawa. They just have to keep going through their entire catalog. That is impossible for them to do otherwise. And Bandai Namco for the SAO games, that's just... Again, I'm going to talk about Bandai Namco specifically later in a specific video. In terms of movie, thanks for actually narrowing it down so I don't have to speak too much. But the most important thing that they need to do is, well, first off, getting the brand under one Sword Online umbrella, which, as I said, I don't think is going to happen anytime in the near future. But yeah, in terms of the movie, the most important thing is that global push. We live in a global world with social media and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, you can get some regional virality, sure. And progressive movies did really well for what they were, especially during the COVID era, especially with Aria. They were pretty much on par with Ordinal Scale, which, I'll be perfectly honest, I would not have expected. However, the global cooperation for the movie was so terrible. I keep saying this, Aria is understandable due to COVID, but Scherzo did not have to continue being such a mess. And without that global push, the entire international box office, let's say, it suffered immensely. People in the US did not know if the movie was coming to their city, whether it was coming to their theater. People in Europe did not even know whether it was coming to their country at all. A massive disaster on Crunchyroll's Aniplex's side and all of that. What they need to do is what they did with Ordinal Scale. Have the Japanese premiere and the European premiere, and if possible, a US premiere on the same day. Just one showing is fine. Just have that premiere on the same day on 3 different continents, the 3 major markets that you have. And then, when you're going to the normal movie schedule, also have it launch on all 3 continents, and specifically in Europe, the different countries. I know Crunchyroll does not take an active part in the physical distribution in regards to movies, but then again, Crunchyroll, you need the Crunchyroll and Aniplex in this case because they're working together. Obviously, they're both under Sony now. Work with your regional partners. You have all your regional partners in every single country. Work with them. Have it be a proper Europe-wide simultaneous release for the movie and have it be available in theaters, actually. That is the best thing they can do for their marketing, because once they do that, they don't need to do anything special for their social media posts or trailers or whatever. They can keep doing the usual, I don't want to say lackluster, because when the movie is ramping up, they tend to do a decent job at the very least. So I don't have any, they can do better, but I don't have any specific complaints. But the moment they get that simultaneous release across Japan, Europe, and the US, the virality, the algorithms are going to do their job worldwide, and that's going to be just boosting the entire marketing just by default, and that is what they need to do. What is your favorite SAO arc? In terms of main stories, Human Empire sub-arc of the entire Alicization saga. Beautiful world building, beautiful characterization, really well carried out mystery, and I can't stress that enough. We start with teasing the entire mystery of Underworld. The moment Kirito wakes up in Underworld and finds Yujiro, you know, he's constantly theorizing what he needs to do, you know, whether he can just off himself and get out of the STL, or there's something else going on, or maybe he needs to find an admin console if he is actually in a project, because he doesn't even know what the project is. His memories from before were blocked, remember? Whether he's in Rath's project or not. And, you know, the entire mystery that's set up in that first volume properly with a proper end goal, find the admin console, it just drives the entire story home. And I think that is one of the reasons why that story flows so beautifully. War of Underworld kind of takes that all back. The world building kind of shatters a bit due to the problems I have with Incarnation that I talked about ad nauseum. I'm not going to bore you with all of that again. But that was more supposed to... I can understand where War of Underworld is coming from, because that was supposed to be a climax to a 10-volume long saga. You know, that I can sympathize with it. I don't like it, but I can sympathize with it. I think that's fine, but it was nowhere near my favorite, and I think it hurt the series more than it has. Unital Ring, it's all mystery without establishing anything, and that's the problem I have in comparison to the Human Empire arc. Despite going through similar motions, Unital Ring is not quite hitting those specific points home for the mystery to hook you and keep you going. Grey Hydra asks, what happens to Kirito and Asuna at the end of War of Underworld? Well, they stay there for 200 years, and I'm assuming you're asking about the epilogue scene of War of Underworld, where they go back in with Alice. I do have videos. You can check my War of Underworld ending explained video where I talk more in depth, including some spoilers. I'm gonna keep it spoiler free, but they go back into Underworld. The scene in space with the, what was its name, Abyssal Horror happens, and then they basically follow the two jets with Stika and Lorene, Tiza and Ronnie's descendants, back to Underworld to have a bit of tea. And that is as far as I am going to say, because the rest of the contents are going to be strictly and likely heavy Unital Ring spoilers. So if you want any of that, you're gonna have to go back and check my War of Underworld ending explained video specifically for more spoilers. Thank you for your question, and apologies for not wanting to go into deep spoilers there. But the reason for that is that final scene in War of Underworld is not actually part of War of Underworld. It is in the light novels of War of Underworld. However, it is titled Prologue 3. And obviously, Prologue is a mini intermission at the beginning of it. That's no longer an intermission, is it? A mini segue introduction into your story. A prologue can't be at the end of a story. So what does that mean? That final chapter you saw was basically the prologue for Unital Ring. And once again, I'm going to direct you all the way to my War of Underworld ending explained video to head into Unital Ring. And afterwards, you can go ahead and read the Unital Ring books. Links are down below in the description. You can get them on Amazon and support the channel at the same time. Akazukin Des asks, hey, is there an SAO game that's not on the phone with an at least playable online community, and is it worth it? You are kind of sort of a bit late, but Fractured Daydream is it. There are still some players playing in Japan, but I feel like we're ramping down, and with Season 6, we're gonna probably announce an end of support for that game. But still, at the right times, you can still go in and play online, especially with the Japanese players, or if you have a group of friends, it's very much manageable. Otherwise, the single-player campaign is very high production, so I still very much recommend it on consoles and PC. And yeah, at this point, we're kind of sort of looking forward to the next SAO game, which is bound to happen at some point. And last but not least, Dark Emperor 9581 asks, my question, do you know why there are some people that seem to genuinely hate Asuna? And I've also seen a decent few people really not like Sinon, which I always found weird. I always thought Sinon was the most compelling and well-written character in the show. I'll leave the opinions aside, you know, that's not technically part of the question, but it's just the state of the internet, man. Like, if you asked me 5 years ago, I would go into, you know, assume people's mindset. Why are they hating this character? Why are they hating that character? At this point, it's been long enough, and, you know, Twitter's been a thing, Reddit's been a thing, Facebook's been a thing. People are just extremely emotional and way too invested in these characters as if they're hooligans rather than just enjoying how the character is written. So as a result, anything that does not suit, that does not benefit that character specifically, whether they're too popular compared to their own, whether they're taking more screen time than their favorite character, they're just gonna hate it. And, you know, it's just way too popular to hate popular things at this point, which has to come full circle at some point. But Who cares? Who cares? What matters is your own opinion. Do you like these characters? Great. Enjoy the characters. Some random anonymous 456 on Twitter, what is it their opinion to you? If they're spewing hate when you post something, just block them and move on. Otherwise, enjoy your characters. They are for you to enjoy. Everything else doesn't matter as long as you enjoy the company of these characters or their adventures. And that is going to be the answer that I'm going to finish on. That's been all the YouTube questions, so we're done. Thank you very much for your questions. And for the next parts, I'm going to be turning towards Facebook and Twitter. If you still have questions, please go over to my Twitter. I'm regularly retweeting the original Q&A post where you can go ahead and ask your question in the replies. Please put it specifically on that Q&A post. That's where I'm sorting chronologically, and that's where I'm one by one going through the questions. But thank you very much for all of your questions. Thank you very much, specifically you on the other side of the screen, for watching. Again, hoodies, t-shirts, even posters and stickers are available on my Teespring page. Do have a look. Could be a nice Christmas or New Year's gift. And otherwise, I will see you all in the next part of the Q&A. And until then, stay cool.